All right, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the next Donkey Kong game and what is going on there. We had some rumors that popped up, I think last year about the game, and I do think that there is a brand new Donkey Kong game that is in development and could potentially be revealed at the next Nintendo Direct. So we're going to go down all of the ideas and what I think is happening, in addition to a couple of other different things. But before we get into anything, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos daily. We upload all the time and also have live streams, and it really does help out the channel when you do all of that. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it with a Donkey Kong Country, or a new Donkey Kong reveal potentially at the next Nintendo Direct, which I'm pegging for June of this year, which is fastly approaching here. Now, we all know that E3, or if you didn't know, E3 has been officially canceled, but that's not going to stop the Nintendo train from delivering some good news and their Nintendo Directs, because this is exactly the reason why over a decade ago Nintendo decided to do Nintendo Directs, just in case if something happened in the industry or they wanted to get their information out when they wanted to and didn't have that physical place available. Nintendo could get that information directly to us. So Nintendo was way ahead of the curve when it comes to everything in this type of presentation and format, and they've used the past decade plus to refine that format of Nintendo Directs to pretty much to where it's perfection at this point. The pacing, the type of announcements, the games, the one more thing, they do a pretty good job with it. So I think that June is the next time that we will see a Nintendo Direct, potentially showing off this big new Donkey Kong game. But let's talk about this for those that maybe aren't into the franchise, or maybe you didn't know about it, or what makes it so good and what's going on with it. So the last new Donkey Kong game was all the way back in 2014. That was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. That game did later get ported to the Nintendo Switch a number of years ago. It's the same game, but they added in some refinements. They put it into 1080p completely. Obviously, it's still 60 frames per second. They added in the new funky mode for players out there, so it's easier for them to play. And it's still a great 2D platformer. It's fantastic. It was great on the Wii U. I've played it on the Switch. It's great on there. So if you haven't played Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, please make sure you check that out on the Nintendo Switch. It's a fantastic game, but I do think that it's time for a little bit of an evolution. I think that Donkey Kong could be, because the rumors that we last saw about it was that people didn't know whether it was a 3D game or it was a 2D game. We had some rumors saying that it was 2D, some rumors saying that it was 3D, so I'm guessing it's going to be a hybrid type of title. I'm guessing that it's going to be a Super Mario 3D All-Stars / Kirby and the Forgotten Land type of game, where you have potentially 2D segments where you're going about and running around in 2D, but then also some 3D type of segments as well, with maybe a fixed camera angle, kind of like how Kirby has too, or like Super Mario 3D World, for example. I think that could be it. I think that would be a great format for it, because just like those games utilize potential multiple characters, more Super Mario 3D World than Kirby. But Kirby does have a second player, the Bandana Waddle Dee, that you can use. And in Donkey Kong games, multiple characters have always been a thing with the Donkey Kong Country games. You've been able to use Dixie and Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, and all sorts of characters, right, over the years. But Baby Kong, there's been just a ton of different characters that you've been able to use, along with animal buddies as well. So I think that that style of a 2D, 3D hybrid game could fit really well for what Donkey Kong does best, with its characters and its little bit of its humor and everything as well. So I think that that could be the style that they're maybe aiming for, because I think that minecart levels, which are a staple, would be really cool to kind of transition from 2D, then maybe you go into 3D behind the back, then back to 2D. I think that would be really fun to kind of explore some of those themes with the next Donkey Kong game. But it's going to be interesting, because people are going to be asking, okay, who is going to be developing this game? And there are a number of different developers that could be tackling this type of project. You have Next Level Games has been rumored to be doing that. They're working on the Mario Strikers Battle League game, but that game is, I would say, pretty much done, because it's coming out this June, right there, probably right around the next Nintendo Direct or so, right in that same month. So maybe they're also going to be working, or have been working, on this game too, and also maybe a team within Nintendo working with Next Level. Then there's also Retro Studios, the developers of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which was fantastic. They could be working on it as well, but as we all know, they're also working on a pretty huge game, and that is Metroid Prime 4. But maybe there's a couple different developers that have kind of been left back to work on that, just like they worked on the port of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. For those who don't know, Retro Studios did port that game over, even while they've been doing a bunch of other stuff, or potentially putting together prototypes for other games, or Metroid Prime, or whatever the case is, right? So they've been working on quite a number of different things there, but we just really haven't seen a lot of production from them. So maybe there is another team working with Retro Studios and also Nintendo to get a brand new Donkey Kong game. But I do think, this is just my own personal belief here, Nintendo could take the Donkey Kong franchise and put it back into the land of Japan only when it comes to development. Nintendo has been hiring a ton of new people, kind of like from their fresh program that they have in terms of hiring. They have good salaries. People are wanting to work at Nintendo. They've invested $1 billion back into game development, which they just told us, or the investors more like it, a bit ago. So that means they probably already put that plan into motion quite a while ago. So I think that they maybe could be raising a brand new team, get one of their directors that they've had for multiple years, work on different stuff, and get that team within Nintendo to make a brand new Donkey Kong style of game in the same vein of a Kirby and the Forgotten Land, or also a Super Mario 3D World. So I think all of those are possibilities for who could be developing the next Donkey Kong game. Now, when it comes to the game itself, obviously Donkey Kong is known for its difficulty, so we would definitely have to see some nice difficulty in the game. I think that you can put stuff in there in order for new players to be able to get in a funky mode or some type of help mode that can help out new players, but I would love to see it be difficult. It doesn't need to be Dark Souls or anything like that, but Donkey Kong games have always been difficult. They've always advertised as being difficult. Tropical Freeze was no exception to that. Nintendo actually pushed the difficulty in that game when it comes down to it, so I'd love to see them kind of keep that in there, and then also have like the tag mode as well. So maybe if you are a parent, you can play with your son or your daughter, mom, whatever the case is. So I think that that could be something that could be a very good sticking point for the next Donkey Kong game as well. But yes, minecarts, multiple characters, power-ups, great level design. These are all things that have been staples in the Donkey Kong franchise, the Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Country, more like it, Donkey Kong Country franchise. So I'd love to see all of that come back, but we're gonna have to wait and see if Nintendo does have anything for us when it comes to a new Donkey Kong game and what they're going to be doing there, what they actually make. They've always taken Donkey Kong in really different and unique paths over the years, even like on the GameCube, the Donkey Konga games and stuff like that. So we'll see what they do this time. I don't think they're gonna go that extreme. I think they're gonna go more of a 2D, 3D hybrid route this time around. But what are your thoughts on Donkey Kong? Do you think we're gonna see it at the next Nintendo Direct? And when could this game be dropping? Now, we do know that obviously The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 has been delayed to 2023, spring 2023 to be exact. So Nintendo could be prepping this title to get things going for this year, because if this game was in development, it had to have been in development for quite some time. So it could be a Metroid Dread type of situation, to where it kind of just comes out of nowhere, right? Just comes out of nowhere. Although I did say that we will get a 2D Metroid. I was 99.9% sure that we get a 2D Metroid when it comes to an announcement, and we did get that. So I do think that Donkey Kong could be very much that. It just kind of comes out of nowhere and it's launching later this year. But we'll see exactly what happens with the game, or if they even reveal anything at this next Nintendo Direct. It could be at the Fall Direct, or it could just be a game that they reveal next year or something. But there has to be a new Donkey Kong. It's been too long since the last one has came out, and this used to be a staple franchise for Nintendo. I mean, the Donkey Kong Country games, they used to release so many of these, and these sold so well on the Super Nintendo. So I think it's time to get that Donkey Kong sales and that Donkey Kong prestige back within Nintendo. And I think that this is the way that they're going to do it, especially if you look at Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That game is selling extremely well. A Donkey Kong game could do even better because of the notoriety of Donkey Kong. So what do you guys think about this here? When do you think this could be happening? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic, we do have some updated sales information for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This game is continuing to sell strong as there isn't a lot of big new releases around the industry, and Kirby just seems to come at a very good time. So over in the UK, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is now the series' 4th best-selling entry already. It's only been out for a couple weeks now at this point, and it's already the 4th best-selling entry in the UK. So that's pretty good. It had the biggest launch in the UK ever the previous week, and now it's all of a sudden 4th best. So I'm guessing that it's going to be #1 when it's all said and done. Now, sales did drop about 43%. And remember, the UK, it's boxed game sales, so it's very much like the Japanese sales, although they don't give us the actual number. They'll give us percentage drop. So 43% drop, which isn't too bad of a first week to second week as well. So what we do know is that over in Japan, sales for Kirby and the Forgotten Land were about 400,000 units physical. So if you combine that here, things are looking pretty good, especially if you add in the US, which is the biggest market and probably sold better than Japan and also the UK, maybe even combined at the end of the day, considering how many more people and how many more Nintendo Switch systems are in the US. So not bad at all. Not bad at all to see Kirby continuing to do extremely well. And I expected that because this seems to be the most ambitious Kirby game in quite some time. Star Allies did okay for what it was, over 3 million units sold. Definitely not bad for what that game was and the reviews of that game, but Kirby seems to be absolutely crushing the last game that came out. And once again, it makes sense. It's actually a traditional good 3D Kirby game. We haven't had one of those in a very long time, so it's very good to see Kirby doing extremely well on the Nintendo Switch. And that install base, just the way that the Switch is, this system is not slowing down anytime soon. So Nintendo's just kind of rolling here with this. But what are your thoughts on Kirby and the Forgotten Land continuing to do extremely well in the sales charts? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys, we have a House of the Dead remake information bonanza. This game is dropping this week on the system, so I wanted to go over some of the stuff with House of the Dead because this is a, from all intents and purposes, seems like a high quality remake of the game, an official FAQ or frequently asked question when it comes down to it. So how much is House of the Dead remake on the eShop? It's $24.99. How will the controls work in House of the Dead remake? Here's the thing, because people have been asking about this, if there's a light gun and all that. So you may use both the analog plus buttons and gyro aiming. Combined controls are also available. Gyro works for a pair of Joy-Cons plus the grip, as well as with a single Joy-Con. Pro Controller works too. If you only own a Nintendo Switch Lite, you will be able to use the standard controls without gyro, so the analog as well. The game has numerous options for the gyro, such as reset, aim assist, available for analog as well, sensitivity, revert, X, Y axis, and control mode. So they're going all out with the controls there, guys. Now, is there an original OST/VO included in the House of the Dead remake? The remake has a new OST and VA inspired by the original. VO is available in English, subtitled in 9 different languages. House of the Dead is notorious for its bad voiceover, so they had to redo that one, guys. So, will House of the Dead remake be available on other platforms and in VR? Only the Nintendo Switch release is confirmed, so I'm guessing that later down the line there will be a PlayStation or Xbox version, but for right now, all there is the Nintendo Switch. So what options and features will be available in House of the Dead remake? Buckle up, boys and girls, there's quite a bit here. You have local co-op with 2 players, achievements, cheat codes, gallery with monsters, including 3D models, name description, and weak points, horde mode, up to 15 times more monsters, story mode, gyro controls, analog plus button controls, different scoring options, classic plus modern, difficulty modes, easy, normal, hard, and arcade, armory, unlockable weapons, enemies and paths from the original game, multiple endings, 3 endings from the original game, performance mode, more frames per second, so nice performance mode, probably 60 frames and 30 frames. Also, leaderboards with statistics including IGT, different colors to choose from player 1 and player 2, hide UI and UI scaling, and also a photo mode, which people like for some reason. But yeah, photo mode's good. After release, you have cowboy mode, so some extra modes coming down the line. One player can use 2 weapons while dual wielding Joy-Cons. That should be fun. How is health/scoring system working in the House of the Dead remake? So you have the score modes, classic scoring mode based on the classic arcade version of the game. You have the modern mode, which is a new scoring mode made for the remake, includes numerous point multipliers. Then also the multiplayer modes, you have cooperative, only 1 score for both players, only 10 credits. Then you have competitive. Both players earn points separately, each has 10 credits. You've got your health and your different point difficulties. They talk about the light gun and that not being available. Everything's just built in with the regular Nintendo Switch. And if the continue system is still the same. So 10 credits, guys, 10 continues. If you run out of credits, you may use 5,000 points to buy a new continue when you die. If you don't use a continue within 10 seconds or you have less than 5,000 points, the game ends. Now, will the game feature the shoot outside the screen sound? No. The game, however, has a brand new recorded reload sound. So there you go as well, guys. House of the Dead launching on April 7th. For the Nintendo Switch, coming up very soon here, or might even be out by the time that you're watching this video. It's looking like a really good remake. I've been covering it, and I think that this is going to be a high quality remake of the original House of the Dead, which is really cool because House of the Dead has had some great re-releases or great franchise releases on Nintendo platforms. The Wii got some really cool House of the Dead games as well, so I'm looking forward to this one. I've actually already bought the physical edition, which you can pre-order on Amazon, and it's coming out later. That's coming out later down the line, but of course, if you want the digital version, that's going to be $24.99 that you can pick up this week. So what are your thoughts on everything here that we talked about, from Donkey Kong to Kirby and of course House of the Dead? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell and we will see you for the next video. Peace.